Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing? Dr. Tamika Hall here, and welcome to Meet the Authors. I am really excited about this season. First of all, I think you all saw that yesterday I found out, thank God for Cyrus Webb, who is the GOAT when it comes to online television, because that's exactly what this is. He let me know that we were in the top 5, that the show was in the top 5, and that we had been since the end of January. Insane. And so then I realized, now that I know where to look, last night our show is in the top 3 in our category over on Amazon. Y'all, like, this is exciting. This is just incredibly exciting for me. And like, I'm like going back to my Clueless days when I was young. I'm crebelling right now. That's exactly how I feel. I'm just really, really excited. So we are here to meet more of the authors from God Blocked It, from the anthology. If you have not had an opportunity to grab the book, as you can see, I already got my tabs ready for my ladies. If you haven't had the opportunity to grab the book, that's what we are here talking about. I am so proud of this book. I'm in love with the cover. There are 28 of us. Like, look how beautiful all of us are. I just get so excited about it. It's been such a great time just being able to work with these women. We started working together back in September of 2022, and we just released in January. We hit #1 in international best-selling categories, not only here in the United States, but over in the United Kingdom as well. And so I love being able to take this opportunity to share with all of you, the ladies that are behind the pages, or perhaps in between the pages, however you want to say it. Do me a favor. Share this broadcast out for me, please. Share this broadcast out. We want to know where you're broadcasting in from. Let us know what state you're tuning in from and all of that great stuff. But you help us out when you are commenting, when you are hearting it. And if you're over on Amazon, I see you over on Amazon as well. When you are clicking the stars, it helps us out, and it lets everybody know that they need to be tuned in right now. And it especially helps the ladies that are here, right? If you haven't bought the book, I want you to get the book from one of these queens that are on here tonight. Now, without any further ado, I'm excited to introduce to you Miss Mercy Pinder and Miss Robin M. Sample, MSW. Like, did you like that? It's
Yes, I did. I love it.
like, I mean, nobody says the MSW, but it's fun. Like, so, Robin M. Sample, MSW. Okay, like, you work for it. It's yours. Like,
Thank
I'm
you.
so here for it. Listen, and excuse me, you have multiple degrees.
I do.
Yeah,
do. I had 3.
She's smart. Okay, she's smart. Are you working on your doctorate?
I am not working on my doctorate. I'm kind of contemplating. I'm contemplating law right now. Not sure. Kind of like.
You're contemplating law?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're about to be Esquire.
Hoping. That's what I'm putting right in the atmosphere. I gave it to God, and I'm going to see what He does with it. But that's what I'm contemplating now.
So I actually initially, when I was in college, I was pre-law.
Really? I did not know that.
I mean, you're probably not surprised. Like, y'all know I got a big mouth, you know what I mein? And I used to be very argumentative. I'm going to say used to be because I refuse to say that I still am. But used to be very argumentative. And I really wanted to be Judge Judy.
Oh, not Judge Judy. Okay.
I interned with the state's attorney. I interned with judges and everything. Like, I was interning with the state's attorney when I was in high school. I interned at the Maryland Senate. I got to hang out with all the senators and the House representatives. Yeah, like,
that is awesome.
Yes. But then when I had to like do legwork and go to court and actually be in court, I was like, this is so boring. This is not Judge Judy at all. And I was like, I don't know how long I would have to be in this boring atmosphere before I could be Judge Judy. And so then I switched my major to theater. Like, who of all the things? I initially, because you and I, we have the same alma mater. So
yeah.
We both graduated from Washington College.
Yeah.
So I was pre-law, but I also was double majoring in Hispanic studies. So yeah, so yo hablo español también, right? So I speak Spanish and all of that great stuff, right, as well. But when I was like, law is boring, I was like, I'm going to pursue what's always been my passion and what I like to do. And I went for the theater degree. So it's theater and Hispanic studies. And my dad was like, what are you going to do with the theater degree? And I was like, because my dad wanted me to major in English. He was like, you're a good writer. I mean, it makes sense now. But back then, he was like, what are you going to do? I was like, what am I going to do with the English degree? It's such a dumb argument, but whatever. Like, I wasn't, it was a dumb argument.
Well, now you are using that now.
Right. And I used to tell Dad, just because I'm good at writing doesn't mean I have to major in English. And I'm still glad I didn't major in English. But
this was so boring.
Definitely using it as a book editor and publisher. And I'm like, man, I had to eat crow on that one. I was like, Dad,
I bet you did.
Yeah. I think I see Deborah trying to come in. Deborah, I don't see your picture. So if you're able to turn on your video, try to turn on your video for me so that we can go ahead and bring you onto screen. Mercy, y'all. Mercy is smart.
Yeah.
Mercy always be trying to tell people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
The whole nurse and everything, y'all. Like her and Robin both were sitting up here telling me that I need to like do some things to take care of myself before we got on here. So Mercy is smart. Okay. So let me know, like, how's everything going with y'all these days? Because since our last road trip, we really haven't spent a lot of time together.
That is true. Everything is going well. I don't have any complaints. I'm like living my best life right now, and I've finally gotten to know who I am. After 52 years, I know me now. So I'm kind of liking the little girl that I went back and saved. I kind of like her because she giggles a lot. She laughs a lot. She has fun. So I'm living my best life. Everything is fine.
Did I see you post that you lost, was it like 130 pounds?
101 pounds.
101 pounds. And you did that on your own.
I did.
No. Y'all, Robin makes everybody feel bad. She's in the gym at like 4:00 in the morning. And I'm like, I feel like she's just rubbing this in my face at this point. So
I had to. I was like, my health was really suffering, and emotionally I was suffering. I said, I got to do something different. So I just hit the gym because I really wasn't liking how I was feeling and all these medications and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, listen, I'm not letting anybody cut me to lose weight and be healthy. I'm just going to get in this gym and make it do what it is. And
I hear you, but even Mercy can attest to the fact that we'll be in meetings and Robin likes to make everybody feel bad. Robin, she comes on camera and she's prancing like this. She's prancing on the treadmill, and then she has her towel. Woo, so hot. Just so hot. Prancing.
Y'all are no good.
Mercy knows. Y'all like my towel?
Y'all
so hot. And then y'all, now she knows she's on this treadmill and we're trying to have conversation. Ooh, y'all, well, listen. So, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. And then she wants to come on and preach to us while she's on the treadmill or the elliptical. Go sit down somewhere. We know we need to be in the gym. You make me sick. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so proud of you. You're an inspiration. It's serious. But
that's too funny. So I'm gonna be thinking about you 5:00 tomorrow morning when I get on the treadmill. I'm gonna be laughing, thinking about you, not even be able to focus on my workout.
Listen, I'm not even playing with you. I'm gonna try to be there. And yes, Elder Keisha said, not Elder Keisha. I'm telling you, prancing. Little dainty steps. It's like, look, I gotta show y'all. It be little dainty steps like this.
You know what? She got
dainty steps. How you gonna get hot with this? Ooh,
you're not sweating. I be putting in work. Look, I be not putting in work. I be drinking.
No, you be doing your thing. Doing your thing.
I am telling you, I do.
Listen, and Jaquay is laughing because she knows.
Yeah,
she's laughing. She already knows what it is.
Absolutely.
No, but it's fire. I love it. I love what you're doing. Let me just see. I see Deborah here. Deborah?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you,
Hello.
lovely. How are you?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to resolve this, but I'm using the
Okay.
laptop, so I'm not sure what's going on. It shows that my cam is on, my mic is on, but I don't know why I can't see myself as well because
Yeah.
it's kind of blank. What I'll do is probably I'll exit the
Okay.
I'm gonna exit and then come back in and see if
Okay.
that works.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Let
Thank
me
you,
see your beautiful
everyone.
face. Yes, 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 y'all. Deborah's in Paris on holiday. Listen, let me find out. We
Mm.
listen, when I take a vacation, I go sit in my living room. Not Deborah. She goes to Paris. Okay. We got Robin Prancing
See,
and Deborah on holiday in Paris. Okay.
I just want a change of environment.
No, you deserve it.
Yeah,
You
UK
deserve it.
is so
But do
so
me a favor.
busy.
Yeah, no, you
Okay,
deserve it. Do me a favor. Go
thank
ahead, log
you.
out and see if you can log back in so we can see your face. Because I really
Yeah,
want people
I'll
to.
do that now. Thank
Okay,
you.
you're
See you
welcome.
soon.
Elder Keisha says, cute and shedding pounds. Go, Robin. I love it.
well,
I
thank
want
you.
to give a shout out to Elder Keisha. Want to give a shout out to Miss Shantae. How you doing, Shantae? How you doing? Mercy, talk to me. What's been going on with you? Talk to me.
All is well. Enjoying the new, the new me. Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about the new you. I'm so here for the new you.
Walking into who I am before I went through what I went through,
Mm.
releasing, releasing the weights of everything that didn't belong to me, and that means people,
Come on.
places, and things. Yes, ma'am.
I love it. Hold
Mm.
on. Hold on. All right, sorry. I had to address the situation. Y'all know I address things quickly and then we keep on moving. So, okay, I love it, love it, love it. So, listen, we're here to talk about God blocked it, and we're here to talk about your particular chapters. I want to just give another shout out to everybody that is joining us over here on Facebook, on Amazon Live, and also on YouTube. Thank you very much. I'm appreciative that you are here. Do me a favor, share this out. Make sure that you are connecting with us in the comments and all of that great stuff because it just blesses our life. So listen, Mercy, I want to go ahead and get started with you. I want to talk to you about your chapter, Looking for Love in All the
In
Wrong
all the wrong places.
all the wrong places. I think all of us can attest to that. I think that all of us can attest to that we have looked for love in the wrong places. And I want to start off with a segment from your chapter. So here we go. You said, the ultimate lesson in all of this is that I had to stop placing people in positions and prioritizing them in my life that was not authorized, equipped, or ordained by God to be in. The ultimate test was how I handled them after they had done everything they were big enough to do to me. I'm in the position to see them in a mess that's unhealthy, and it is placed on your heart to pray and intercede on their behalf without them even knowing. One second, I think I missed something. Nope, no, I didn't. I'm good. The relationships never were intended to be lifelong relationships. And if Mercy had her way, I would have been married to one of them, but God. I want to give you an opportunity because I didn't really want to read the story that you talked about. But if you could give us a short snippet on what you gave us a major bird's eye view into a relationship. And I found myself like clutching my pearls and like, oh God, get out of there. Like when I was reading it. But talk to us about love in all the wrong places and how God brought you out of that relationship.
God brought me out of every one of those relationships by showing me the flags, the purple flags. And although I didn't see them at first, He opened my eyes. He removed the veil from my eyes. And when you place people in positions that God didn't equip them to be in, then you make people your lifetime people when they only were your assignment. And when you do that, that opens up a field of heartache, pain, rejection. But the most important thing that I got out of it is what I didn't, because I used Proverbs 3:5-6 in my chapter. And that's my scripture. Did you check with God first? And had I took the time to check with God first, I wouldn't have went through what I went through. But because of God being who he is, he used the very things that I didn't check with him first to lead me right back to my first love, which was him.
So what are one of the things, like, give us one of the things that because it's amazing. We don't always realize that sometimes the very things that were meant to harm us, that God actually uses them for our good. So give us an example of one of those things where God turned that thing around in your favor.
So for one, I was loving others more than I was loving myself. But the love that I was giving to others, it was already inside of me. But I didn't know it because I didn't know me. And then they didn't know them either. Because if they knew their stuff, they would have saw the blessing. But instead, I learned the lesson and I passed the test.
Yes. Yeah. Now there's one particular incident that you talk about, and this is the one where I was kind of like, I had no idea that she was going through this. Shout out to my mentor, Apostle Tanya Tanika. How you doing, Apostle? So glad to have you joining us. I do just very quickly want to give a shout out to Cassandra McCrae. She said, "Mercy and that beautiful smile." We got cousin here. She said, "That's good." Shantae said, "That's good as well." I love it. I love it. There's one particular incident where you talk about you were at a hotel with this loved one, right? This person,
Yes.
you were in love with this person, and
Yes.
this person like had an attitude, had been nasty with you all day long, and basically, like, when they were acting a fool, you were like, you know what, I'm gonna go and get my nails done, right? So you leave to
It
go
was
get
my
your
birthday.
yeah, it was your birthday, only to return back to have him wrap his hands around your neck. Talk
Yes,
to
ma'am.
us about that. Talk
It
to
was
us about that.
it was the most scariest thing I've ever experienced. Um, he was mad because, for one, I didn't make it about him. I was making it about me for once. And so he was mad when I got back. I sat down on the bed and he, pushed me back on the bed, wrapped his hands around my neck. But it was my cry out that caused him to release his hands. And once he released his hands off of my neck, he left. And I thought he went to go get another room, but he actually went and rented a car and went back to Maryland.
And I
But
forgot, where were y'all at?
in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, because he legit left you there. Let's talk about the cry out though, right? Because a few minutes ago you just said that the very thing that really was meant for bad, that it was that terrible thing, was the thing that God used to save you. It was the cry out. How many
Yes.
times have we had to cry out to God and he rescues us in the middle of the cry out? Talk to us about the
Yes.
cry out, because on this particular trip, this was not the first time that he had put his hands on you.
His first time putting his hands on me, but his attitude would spike from 0 to 100 when things didn't go his way. You could say like one word and that's it. The wind blow wrong and that's it. But his first time putting his hands on me, but in that moment, once he left out that door, that was my escape. And in that relationship, God turned so many things around for me for my good. It led me back to God. It allowed me to see myself through the eyes of God. It allowed me to give the love that I've been giving to everybody else to myself, to set healthy boundaries. God used it to push me into my purpose.
Uh-oh.
Yes, it allowed it to push me into my purpose. And then not only that, he blessed me with so many wonderful sisters. And I got to know Mercy for who she is. I began to set healthy boundaries and knowing that it's okay to go from selfless to selfless. Because a lot of times, us ones with them big hearts, we so giving and giving and giving and giving and loving others more than we loving ourselves. But it's okay to give that same love to ourselves. So I went from selfless to selfless.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to bring Robin on here because Robin, also we know you have been able to talk about your story of dealing with domestic violence. I kind of want to ask, actually, before I jump with you, Mercy, how hard was it for you to talk about this part of your life? A lot of women are afraid to come out and to talk about the domestic violence that's been in their life, but what prompted you to talk about that?
Because it's so many women and men as well that's out here with the big hearts, that's so giving of themselves to others that we forget ourselves, and you end up losing yourself. Because at one point in time, I was telling God that He could take me out of here because I had enough. But God said, not so. The same way I was allowing others to misuse me and mishandle me, it was time for me to allow God to use me. And when God uses you, He uses us for His greater good, for Him to get the glory out of our lives. And then we are to help others. Yes.
Robin, now, what struck you? Because for me, it was the cry out. It was the cry out.
It was so much that she said. The cry out was the one thing that she said. But I resonated when she said that she made it about her and not about him. And that's what set him off. The wind would blow. Something would happen, anything would happen, and then he would be different. But that cry out, let me tell you, and it's so funny. Me and Mercy were just talking earlier about crying, how you can hear in somebody's cry when they cry a different tune, a different tone, a different volume in the cry. And I know I have many different cries. So it was different cries that come from within me that mean different things. There's a cry, there's a fearful cry, there's an anxiety cry, there's a I need you cry, there's a I'm lonely cry. It's so many cries. But when you have that cry out because you're done, you're on that other side of through, and you've had enough, that cry sounds different. And I wasn't there, but I can tell you, I could hear what that cry sounded like when she said it just now. It's like a piercing cry that I could hear, that she screamed out, and she screamed like to God. I could just hear that in the spirit. I could hear it because I've been there. I know exactly what that cry out sounds like. And I know where it comes from.
And to me, it's amazing because what that shows is in our cry out, number one, we know that God will rescue us. But our cry out literally stops the enemy in his tracks. Because it's a signal for help. I need people to catch it in the spirit. It's something about the cry out. Because it literally stopped him and he left you. And while other people, and I'm pretty sure when you told family and friends that he left you, even with them, I don't even know if you told them what he did to you, but I'm sure they were upset that he left. He needed to leave you because you probably would have never left him. But it's something about the cry out that literally will sever. It severs soul ties. It's about the cry out, right? When we think about a soul tie, in order for a soul tie to be broken, you have to literally go to God and you got to ask him to begin to break that thing from you. It's in the cry out. Cassandra says it's that Hannah cry out. Listen, that Hannah cry. Remember, Hannah was crying, and who was it? Eli thought that she was drunk, right? It was the cry. It was that cry out that God responds when we cry. Right? Like, because for us, we could just look at it where, okay, he got scared because they were in a hotel. And he got scared. No. It was something about the cry that shifted things. Mr. Nate says, the power of God hears our cries. Get Satan to run. That's exactly what happens. It's in the crowd. So the title of your chapter is looking for love in all the wrong places. I want to ask both of you, how do you know when you are finding love in the right place?
It feels different. You have to work. You don't have to try. It's effortless. You don't have to jump through hoops of fire. You don't have to question your every move, your thoughts. You don't have interior motives, ulterior motives. You don't have a desire to be anybody other than yourself, because you don't have to be. You finally realize that you don't have to be anybody other than you, because with that person who's the right person will see you through eyes that God sees you through. And
Yep.
you don't have to work, because we don't have to work for God to see us. God sees us every time we wake up, every time we move. He knows every hair on our head. He knows everything we're going to say. He knows everything about us. That person who loves you for you and loves you for real, you don't have to go through any extra effort for that person to see you, because they know that you're there and they acknowledge you. You feel it. You feel it in everything they say and everything they do.
I love it. Mercy, what about you? How do we know we're looking for love in the right place?
When that person is aligned with the will of God, like he's submitted and submissive to God first, because
Amen.
in God is taking the time to prepare him for me,
Mhm.
because God took his time when he handcrafted me.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
So
Amen.
so he's not just going to give me no anything.
Right. That's right.
He's not. He's going to give the same way I'm his best. He's going to give me a husband that's his best.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
And listen,
one that's going to love every part of me, because as women, there's a lot of parts to us. We go through a lot of changes, and
Yeah.
even when that man don't understand what it is we going through, he'll still go back to God first before he could sort someone else.
Mhm.
Because who else better is to ask a question about the person that you with but God, because we're his children.
I mean, and let's realize that you know when to love in the right place when you love yourself first, right?
Yes,
Because
And
a lot of times we get connected to these jokers and we stay in it too long, and it's because we haven't loved ourselves first. And so I think the three of us, like, we've all encountered toxic relationships, abusive relationships, and I'm gonna tell you, the best love I've experienced is when I went to God. I went to Papa. That's what I call him. When I went to Papa, and
yes.
and I asked him, I said, show me what you think of me.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
up until now, I had been married, and all what I kept getting from people in the church was, because I remember I actually had a pastor a long time ago that said to me, it's better to be miserable for your whole life than to break covenant. And he did not care that it was an abusive situation. He didn't care. He was like, it's better to be miserable. And I remember I went to God and I was like, but don't you love me? And so when I began to seek God to find out, what do you love about me? What do you think about me? He began to show me how he sees me through his eyes. And it took time. It did. It took some time. And I'm going to tell you something. It took a lot of alone time. I had to be willing to be alone and learn to enjoy my own company. But looking for love in the right place started with loving myself.
Amen.
And Robin, I know that you're currently in love.
I am.
And I mean, because listen, like, this is Love Month, right? Like, we're not going to be here next week when it's Valentine's Day. But what was really interesting about you before you found your love is that you did what?
I gave God 1 year. I gave him one entire year. And it was so amazing that the way he did this, it was only God. It wasn't nothing to do with me or anything or anybody else. I remember when I rose from my bed of affliction from COVID. It was February 5th, 2021. And I remember telling God, you can have your way. I will give you 1 year. I don't want to be bothered with anything, anybody. I don't want any men folk coming knocking down my door, sliding in my inbox, or not sending messages. I don't want any of that. Make it all stop. Temptation came from every which way, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Like the wind was blowing, like every which way, and all of a sudden it got quiet because God knew that I was serious. He was testing me at first to see if I was going to be able to withstand the test of what I asked for, because I told him no more. I can't do this anymore. Tested me a little bit, and then everything stopped. The wind calmed down. Everything was fine. And I remember saying to God, when it is right, send me that person. But I will give you 1 year. And after that year, then if he doesn't come, then I can't guarantee you what's going to happen, but I'm going to give you a year. February 5th, 2022, this man walked into my life. I could not have timed that. And I'm going to tell you how I know it was God. We were supposed to meet the week before, but it snowed. And because he's such a gentleman, he said he didn't want me to meet him because he didn't want me to walk out my door and slip on any ice or snow. He didn't want me to drive in it. So we met the following week, which was February 5th, a year later. And I gave God 1 year. So that's how I know that man walked into my life because God, he created him for me. Because his sister wanted me to meet him back in like May or June of the year before. And I kept telling her no. And she said, why? He's a nice guy. I said, he might be, but he's your brother. You're going to sit there anyway. And she said, no, for real, he's nice. I said, no, I need to do this for me. I need to give God this year. This is what I asked him for because I've been through too much. I've been too hurt, too traumatized. I need to fix me. I need to get to know me. And if you really love me and you really feel like you say you do, you will want your brother to meet me like because what they bring to the table is not anything good. So let God do what he has to do in me. And if your brother is still around, then God is going to bring him to you. And if not, then it wasn't meant. A year later, he comes into the fight. So I know while God was working on me, God was saving that man because he knew that was the name for me. So yeah, I'm so in love with him. I'm telling you, I've never, and you know, it's funny because I never knew what love was before. I always thought I knew what love was, but it wasn't. It was trauma bonding. That's what it was. I was bonded with people who had trauma just like I did. So I was connected to their hurt because I identified with it. So I thought that identifying with what they were dealing with or what they had dealt with was the same thing as love. So I didn't have a clue what love was. I thought I could fix people. I thought if I would be nice, if I would give whatever they asked or did whatever they told me to do, that it meant love. That wasn't love. That was toxicity. And now it's effortless. I don't have to do any of that. I sleep well. And that's one of the things that is so important to me because I get to sleep. I wasn't allowed to sleep in prior relationships. I was made to stay awake. I was made to get up in the middle of the night just for no reason, just dumb stuff. But now I can sleep. So yeah, this is love. And I'm absolutely loving the fact that I have love now.
Yes, and I've vetted him and I love him too. I love him too for you. I want to go ahead and jump into talking about your chapter. Your chapter is titled I Almost Said I Do, but God said, no, you don't. That's what he said. So your chapter begins like this. I was all in. I thought I had met my soulmate, and when he started talking about marriage, I was off to the races, scrambling to plan the where, the when, the who, and all of the other details that come along with planning a wedding. But that's just it. I was preparing for a wedding, and I wasn't preparing for a marriage. There's a huge difference between the two. One is just for the moment, and the other is for a lifetime. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't ready for either. I want you to talk to us about it. I almost said I do, but God said, no, you don't.
He said, no, you don't. And he said it loud and clear. Let me tell you, one of the things that I said to God, because I knew, so I'm just going to be real transparent and real honest. I found out who this man was 4 days after my 50th birthday. My 50th birthday party. I realized who this man really was. But because of where I was in my broken state, I was too embarrassed. I was too ashamed. I was too everything to say who this person really was. So I thought once again that I could fix him. I thought that if I stayed by him and I showed him how you could overcome addiction, how you could move past some of the things that he had dealt with, that he would look at my life and try to mirror my life and be a better person. Because we met through a church and I was jumping through hoops of fire. I mean, rings of fire, trying to get this man to see that there was a better way of living. And the more I did, the more he did, but in the opposite direction. And he kept talking marriage. He kept talking, wanting to move me away, wanting to take me different places, but it was always away from my family. It was wanting me to go somewhere where it was just me and him. Like, why does he want me to be away from my family? And then I kind of cozied up to the idea and I said, well, I was married before and it didn't work. So maybe this is going to be the time. So maybe I can go ahead and just get married. And every time I got to the point where I was about to settle, God would do something to show me this is not the person. And I kept asking God, why did you keep giving me glimpses of this? What he was trying to show me with this person wasn't the person for me. And he wanted me to be honest. He wanted me to be honest with him. Because one of the things that I realized, you can lie to a lot of people, but you can't lie to God because God knows. And he knew what I was dealing with, because what he also knew, that man had no business, no place in my life at all. I had been recently divorced, hadn't gotten over the divorce, and I wasn't missing my ex-husband. It wasn't. We had separated for long before we were divorced. It was just the idea that it was a divorce. That's life changing. I hadn't dealt with it. And I moved on, and then here comes this man, and then all of a sudden he's talking marriage, and I'm ready to go jump and plan a wedding. How are you going to plan a wedding with somebody you don't even know? Then I found out about the drugs. I found out about the other women. I found out about the baby. Then it's abuse. Next thing I know, I'm guns in my face. And I mean, it's just everything was just happening at once. It was just hitting me back to back to back. And God kept saying, no, you don't. This is not what you're going to do. And when he realized that I wasn't going to walk away on my own, I got COVID. And that is when I realized that that was my exodus. And God used COVID to save my life. And I always have to explain, I know that some people don't agree with me celebrating the fact that COVID saved my life, because there are some people who lost their lives because of COVID. And I pray for those people. I empathize with them. But I know what COVID meant for me. I got COVID, and I had COVID for 5 months and 3 days. And what God had to do during that time was he had to work on me. He had to work within me. And in doing that, he had to make sure that I heard his voice. So he had to put me in a place of separation, seclusion, setting apart, because he knew I was not listening in what we refer to as the general population. So I felt like I was incarcerated. I was in my room, isolated from everybody else, and I was in solitude because I needed to hear his voice.
And I need people to understand, because I was around for this, for this relationship. This was a very scary relationship.
It was. It was
scary. Like,
was scary.
I was scared for you.
A lot
I never really expressed to you how afraid I was. I was afraid. I was trying to figure out, because at the time I lived in Philadelphia, and I was trying to figure out, I was like, Lord, maybe she needs to move here for a while. Because it was really that scary.
It was.
I was afraid. I was afraid for your life.
A lot of people were.
I was afraid for your life. And this was a situation that, I appreciate you being transparent. And because a lot of us women, we've done that, because we get out of a situation. Here comes somebody very quickly. And I remember, I think I said to you, I feel like this is happening fast.
You did say that.
Happy.
Yeah, you did. Remember, you had a conversation with me.
Yeah, I said, if you're happy, okay. And you didn't tell me for months. Like, I didn't know for months what was really going on. And I will tell you, I met him. When I met him in person, and this is what people got to understand, I met him in person. He's very charming. And what you showed, you were very happy. And I remember saying to my mother, I said, she's very happy. And I have not seen her smile like that ever. We had known each other for years at that point.
Absolutely.
I said, Mom, she's happy. And if he has her smiling like that, great. And I didn't know until later what was going on, but it was scary. And I was afraid for your life. And I need people to understand that there are some situations where God has to come in. Like, people need to understand, you were afraid for your life. This person was stalking you in your window, leaving things on your doorstep. This was scary. Robin, I was so afraid for your life.
God bless you. It was so many people that were so terrified for me, especially when I started opening up, talking about it, because I mean, I pretended that smile you saw, smoke screen. It was a smoke screen. I
Yeah.
couldn't be at my party and be around people and act like that everything was wrong. I couldn't do that. So I had to act like everything was okay. I was absolutely dying inside. I was absolutely dying inside. And I wanted somebody to save me. I wanted somebody to rescue me. But you can't expect people to rescue you and save you if they don't know what they're rescuing you from, because nobody knew. And like you said, he was charming. He knew how to turn on the charm. He came in there dressed in his 15-piece suit, making everybody think that he was some like a deacon or something. And, you know, everybody was like, oh my God, where did you
Girl,
be?
I said, Robin got her a man with some money. I said, he got some money in this piece. Okay. All right. Listen. Okay. And Robin, and by no means am I trying to, this is not about me at all. But I know I was probably one of the few people that you actually confided in. So for somebody who may be listening, because this is not about me or celebrating me or celebrating me in your life. I'm just saying this to everybody else.
Right.
What was it about me that made you feel safe that you could tell me what was going on? Because people need to understand there's a point when somebody's going to tell you something and you didn't come right out and say anything. When you told me one thing, I literally had to, like, I didn't realize it was a prophetic thing, but the Lord had to lead me into saying to you, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. So what was it that about me, so that people understand? Because Robin, if I may, because I know you're open with this, y'all, Robin works in this field. Because I was in an abusive marriage while working as a domestic violence counselor. So nobody's exempt from this, right? So what was it that made you even give me an inkling into what was happening? Because you didn't come right out and say it. I had to say to you, no, something is going on here.
You're right. Yeah, I remember that conversation like it was yesterday. And that was the second time you had done that for me, because remember when we first met back in 2016, when I told you I wanted to write a book and you asked me what I wanted to write about. And I said my life. And you said, well, tell me what happened, because people want to, hear like what happened in your life. What are you willing to share? You were the very first person that I ever told that I had been raped. I had never told anybody in my entire life that I had been raped before. I told you because you asked the right questions. He asked me the right questions. And I don't even know what you asked me, but something you said to me during that conversation made me feel that I could trust you. It was something about you. I don't know if the God in me connected with the God in you, and it allowed the floodgate to just open and share with you that I had been raped not once, but twice. And I just wanted people to know, because there's so many people walking around that have that type of trauma that they're dealing with, because it's hard when you know that's happened to you and you're trying to walk around every day. You haven't talked about it. It eats you up inside. So when you allowed me to just share it with you before my book was even published, that release that you allowed me to have was like everything to me. My book didn't even have to come out, and I felt a relief just from talking to you. So moving forward with this relationship, when you said no, ma'am, the sternness in your voice when you said it, first of all, it let me know that you cared about me as a person and as a woman, that you cared about my safety and my well-being. Then you asked me, what is it that you love about him? Why do you love him? And I paused. If you can remember, I paused because
I don't remember.
I didn't love him. I did not love him. And I said, I don't know. I never told you I didn't love him. I just said, I don't know. And I was scared because all I could think, if I open up and tell her everything, she might have to call the authorities, because it was bad. It was really bad. The things he was doing to torment me and torture me and all this.
You still never told me everything. I don't even know if I'm ready.
You know what?
I don't know if I'm ready.
I'm going to be.
I know he physically tortured you.
Did.
And you had to be silent.
Yes, I had to.
There were other people in the house.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was other people in the house. I had to be silent while he tormented me. And I learned to just be silent. And in that relationship, I carried that over. That little girl in me was like terrified, because I felt like that little girl all over again. And I couldn't say anything, because basically he had emotionally and mentally paralyzed me. He robbed me of my voice because I was so scared. All I remember hearing were the same words I heard when I was 15. If you tell anybody, I'll kill you. And when somebody tells you that they're going to kill you, and you know they have guns and knives and weapons and all that type of thing, you believe them. And I believed him because he showed me. I had evidence. I had evidence and receipts to know that if he really wanted to kill me, he could have killed me. And I was not going to die like that. I thought about my kids. I thought about my grandkids. And I said, I can't tell them. Didn't want my son to get in any trouble. Didn't want my daughter to get in any trouble. My daughter is so intuitive. I would get up and leave in the middle of the night and she wouldn't know I was gone. She'd call me. She would find me gone. She'd call me, ask me where I was. I would lie because he'd make me leave in the middle of the night. He would make me get up and leave. And if I didn't get up and leave, he would tell me, if you don't come to me, I'm coming to you, and it's not going to be pretty. I'm out on all kinds of hours of the night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, going wherever he told me to go, because I was terrified that if I didn't, then it was going to be bad. And on the few times that I didn't, it was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. So yeah, I suffered a lot. I suffered a lot in that relationship. So when you asked me the questions, I told you what I felt safe to say at the time, because I still had in the back of my mind, she's going to call and tell somebody, because she's going to have to. Because if somebody told me what I knew that I was wanting to tell you, I would have to call and tell somebody. You have to go check on her. And I couldn't run the risk that he would find out that I would say anything. I just couldn't do that. I didn't love myself. I did not love myself. And like Mercy said, there were times when I was suicidal during that time. And I just said, God, you know what? I think it would be better if he just went on and killed me. I think it would be better. And on the night that he made me load the gun and put it under the bed, and I had to sleep in the bed with the loaded gun underneath me, that's when I said, God, just go ahead and let him kill me. Just let him kill me. And I mean, I would rather just die than have to keep living like this, because I can't do this. And when he fell asleep, I grabbed my keys. I eased out of the house. And by the time I got to my car, he was coming out of his back door, and I was able to get away. And I never went back. And then the stalking started. And it was horrible. It was horrible. It really was absolutely horrible. I would not wish that on anybody. And I was an advocate for victims of domestic violence when this was happening. I mean, to the point that my coworkers were trying to EP me. They were looking at facilities on the Western Shore to have me EP because I was suicidal. I did not want to live. I said, I can't do this work. I don't feel worthy to do this work. And they said, but you are so good at what you do. How can you help other people when you can't help yourself? I can't even tell you what that was other than God, because all I knew, every woman, every man that I encountered, I did not want anybody to have to deal with what I dealt with. So all of that gave me the fuel and the fire to fight harder for people that were going through that, because I did not, will not stand by, watch somebody go through what I went through. I just could not do it, and I still can't. And that gives me the fire to do what I do every single day. And I'm living out my passion. So I really feel like I had to go through those things, because some of my clients have talked about living through the same exact things, that heinousness that you hear when they're testifying. And you have to, at some point, at some level, become desensitized so you can sit through it. But at the end of the day, when I get home, I can't tell you the nights that I lay in my bed and cry for my clients, or cry about the things how I get triggered, because PTSD is real. And when I lay there and get triggered and I think about, God, that could have been me. I could have died. I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted that man to kill me. I stopped fighting. I really stopped fighting. I remember him choking me, and I couldn't even talk. I couldn't say anything. And his mother said, get off of her. You're going to kill her. And he cussed at his mom and told her to get the F out of the room. And she got out of the room because she knew he was going to kill me. And I said, if I get out of this, God, I tell you, I would never be in a relationship like this again. That's why when I got up off of my bed of affliction, I told God, I would give you 1 year. Do with me whatever you want to do with me. I was tired. I thank God for COVID. I really did, because had he not, I'm telling you, Tamika, I'm going to tell everybody who's listening, had I not got COVID, it was 3 things that would have happened. That man would have either killed me, I would have killed myself, or I would have ended up on drugs. And I really honestly believe that, because the drugs were all around. I didn't know it at first, but the drugs were all around. And it was like almost to the point that he was trying to force me. And I fought. And I mean, when I talk about fighting, I mean, when people are abusive, they try to get you to do anything to tear you down. He was jealous of the lifestyle that I lived, didn't want me to be doing what I'm doing now, just trying to destroy me. So I know those are the only 3 options that I had. One of those 3 things were going to happen. And then God said, no, not again. And he came and he pushed me off that train track, because here came that same train again. And he said, "You will not get run over by this train again." And he pushed me into seclusion in my room for 5 months and 3 days. That's where I stayed. And that's where he had to keep me because he had to wait until that storm blew over. And I thank God for it. I mean, I thank God for it because I'm telling you, if I did not get COVID, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. And I know that to be true.
Because the thing is that when you caught COVID, he abandoned you.
He did. He walked straight out of my life. He blamed me. He blamed me because he ended up contracting COVID as well. So did his mom. And he blamed me for it. He threatened my life. He threatened my children's life. And after he got well, the stalking started. And I mean, I'm trying to recover. I'm sick. I mean, to the point I could talk in the first couple of days, but you know how with anybody who's had COVID, it's progressive. And then
you had COVID, and people gotta understand you had COVID in 2020 when they still really didn't know what was going on with it. You contracted it in 2020, and you have an autoimmune disease.
I do. I have lupus. So to the point, I was in the hospital twice. I remember my primary care doctor. I remember my neurologist, my rheumatologist. I remember even one of the doctors in the ER asked me, did I have a living will? Asked me if I had an advance directive, if I had made arrangements, had I talked to my children, because at that time they weren't letting anybody in the hospital. Claire had to take me to the hospital, drop me off at the ramp, and watch me get wheeled away because they thought that I was going to actually die. And she's out in the parking lot crying. I didn't know that until later. She's out in the parking lot crying because she thought that was the last time she was going to see me. And they were talking to me about making arrangements for my life. And they basically said to me, with all of these underlying conditions that you have, you're not going to survive COVID. It's a very high likelihood you're not going to survive COVID. You need to make arrangements. And that's where my mind started going. And then when I got back home and I started really like getting more into the word, praying more, what energy I had, I heard God telling me, keep fighting. This is your exodus. Keep fighting. I'm like, what do you mean this is my exodus? And I kept fighting and I kept fighting and I kept fighting. And then one day it dawned on me. I said, Robin, wait a minute. You have more sense than this. Now you have 11 underlying conditions. 11. You haven't been on the ventilator. You're back home. You have home health nurses. You're walking with a walker. Okay, fine. You have the walker. You have the cane. You have the home health nurses. You have physical therapy. If lupus, if COVID was a physical condition, a physical thing, I would have died because I should have lost my life because of everything that I had going on outside of COVID. I should have died, but it wasn't physical. It was spiritual. What God had to do, he had to allow me, the old me, to die in order for him to revive me. He had to do a complete transformation of me, a complete overhaul of me. Everything about me is different. Nothing is the same from when I had COVID. Nothing is the same. He had to completely make me over, but he had to allow me to die. The old self had to die in order for him to do the work in me that he did. It was painful. It was scary, but I realized I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die from this. I have to live. I have to fight. And I continued to fight. Did I struggle? Did I suffer? Oh, absolutely I did. But it was so worth it because I realized now that it was necessary. Every single day of my lupus battle, my COVID battle, everything that I had going on, it was necessary. I had to go through that, but it saved my life. It saved my life. So I thank God for that. I really do.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Miss Danae said, what caused you to know within that made you ask if she was in trouble, Dr. Hall? I missed that answer. I don't really remember what Robin said because I don't remember everything, but there was a check in my spirit where I was like, no, ma'am. No. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that, no, ma'am. Don't let him talk to you like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, we're not going to let him speak to you this way. Right. And so for those that are wondering, even though, I think it was Shell that kind of talked about my purpose bully nature. For everyone, like if you find that there's somebody that is going through something, you got to know how you can talk to your people. Right. Mm-hmm. And so God's blessed me to know Robin for a long time. I've been in like a coaching mentorship role with her for a long time. And I can talk to Robin like that. Like cause she knows that if I'm like, no, like she knows it really is from a loving place. For somebody else, I know how to be soft with that person. And so if you find that there's somebody where something just isn't making sense with what they're talking about, because Robin did not she did not come out and tell me anything. It was because I had to kind of clue in on, I think, and it might even been a slip up. I feel like you might have talked about something. Well, I knew about, you ended up talking to me about the drug abuse. You did talk to me about that. And I think from there, it was kind of like, how's he treating you? Is he trying to get help for this? Like asking those types of questions where I wasn't accusing her, right? And even when, Robin, you can talk about it and you can talk about as much or less as you want to, but even when you were moving beyond it, I could tell when Robin was questioning herself and questioning her worth. And I made it a point to always point out her worth.
Yes, you did.
That her, about where she was worth it. And I focused on what he was doing that was contrary to that. I never belittled Robin.
Nope.
I never belittled her for loving this person, or even when I said to her, Robin, because at one point after months, I was like, Robin, you're not in love with him. You don't love him. This is a familiar place that you're in, right? I was able to say that to her. But I didn't just come right out and say that, but I focused on her worth and her value and how what he was doing was coming against that. So if you find somebody that's in an abusive relationship, you got to build them up. And you have to point out the things that are not right. And I did not badmouth him, right? That's another thing I didn't do. I let her know I wasn't pleased with what he was doing. I focused on his behavior, but I knew that if I started going off on him, like, I can't stand him, he's a scum beneath my toes, like whatever. I don't know what we say. But if I started doing that, she would have stopped talking to me, right? So I hope that helps, Miss Danae. Dr. DeVita says, Dr. Hall will check on you and will continue to check on you until you're out of it. And let's not even get started on how hard she goes for those she loves. I do. I goes hard. I go hard in the paint.
I'm for that. I'm great.
Yeah, but you can attest to it. I backed off. Like, I'll back off. Oh, but I'm coming back.
Yes.
Like, I'm coming back, right?
Periodically, would ask me, where is he? Is he like around? And, different questions that you ask, and it let me know that you care. But like you said, you never badmouthed him. You never said anything against him. You never told me, do this, do that. You just asked how I was doing and what he was doing to me. And it gave me the freedom to talk, because it wasn't many people that I could talk to. And I remember telling my family, when I told my daughter more things, didn't tell her everything, and maybe one day I will, but when I told her more things, I told her, don't treat him any differently. Because if you treat him any differently, that's going to make him react towards me. Because he was very savvy. He picked up on body energy. And I remember him asking me one time, why does she treat me like that? What did you tell her? I said, I didn't tell her anything. And I remember telling my daughter that was like the worst beating of my life. I mean, that was the worst beating of my life, when he suspected that I told her something. And I never admitted that I did. And that's why I tell people all the time, I tell family members when they come to court with clients who are getting protective orders, and then they're in the back being all rah-rah, saying, well, you know what, you would do this, you should do that. If he comes back, I'm going to do, look, let's not do that, because all that's going to do is make it harder for her. And I say her, I mean, it could be male or female, but most of my clients are women, so I'm saying her. And I tell my clients' families and friends, don't do that, because it makes it so much harder for her, because he might back off while you're around, because he knows, okay, well, if she's around, I can't do this so much.
You're not going to act crazy in front of anybody.
Exactly. The moment you walk away and she's by herself, he's going to corner her and he's going to attack her. And that's what happened. And that's why I always say, don't treat them any different. Just go along with it. Let me do this on my own, because I have to do this on my own. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't even know what I need to do. I just know I need to do something. Then God gave me COVID and the stalking. Oh my God, it was like living in a nightmare. It was like I hated waking up every day. I would wake up and really, again, and even when I called the police and I told the police, I'm like, really? I can't even believe that you would let this person come here and then they drive off. I mean, I don't get it. I just do not get it. And it put
Yeah.
me in a mindset of understanding why sometimes victims do not tell. They will not tell, because if you don't feel supported by law enforcement, you don't feel supported by people in a position to help you, what is the purpose of talking? So a lot of times I just sat quiet.
Now I will be honest, when you were out of it, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment when I thought that you were considering going back. It was just the way that you kind of, you never really said it. I will be honest, at that point, I was like, he is a jerk. Because at that point, you're out of this thing. I'm gonna tell you who he is. He's a jerk. Only a jerk would talk to you this way, right? Because at that point, I want you to understand you have every right to feel the way that you do, right? But so y'all, there's unfortunately, it's a journey, and you have to know who it is that you're talking to. Dr. DeVita says abusers train their victims like dogs. They do.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
sounds horrible, but it's true. That is the truth. Mercy, Deborah, let me know, like, how do y'all, you can weigh in on the conversation. What are your thoughts about this? I didn't expect for us to like go here and to talk about it, but I think because we are here, it is important for us to talk about this, because domestic violence, it's real. And even those who are in God, who are anointed, we still will face those things. Dr. DeVita says they will train their victims that if help comes, you don't move or say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn to do that. And like you said, it's important that people got to know, like, please, like, don't say anything, because you make it worse for me when I'm alone with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to be charismatic, and they will always blame the victim and say the victim is being extra and all of those things. So going off on that person, it's not always going to help. Now, I don't know. I realize that there are moments where sometimes you have to go and do a sneak attack and like rescue somebody, but we're not talking about that. We're kind of talking about a different situation. But Deborah, Mercy, what would you guys like to contribute to this conversation?
It was for me, her saying how he took her voice, but God gave her voice back, because the enemy meant for it, because there are other women out here that are going through exactly what she went through, that don't know how they're going to get out of it. But God used it for the good, not just for her, but to help those that feel like they're trapped and have no way out.
Thank you, Mercy. That is so true.
In addition, I think we're talking about books tonight. So I read a book as well, and I forgot the title now. But the book actually talked about why people who are anointed go through some horrific life experiences, and it's actually, to us it's painful. To us, it is challenging, it is dehumanizing, and whatever horrible words we can use to describe the experiences that some of us has been through. But it is God's way of preparing us for the that lies ahead. And the Bible says that He knows the end of a thing right from the beginning. God knew how, He already knows how we're going to end our journey. He knows what He's doing. And in my own experience, I throughout some of my life's journey, I observed that those who are meant to protect me were the one treating me badly. And it hurt so bad, because there is no other person to turn to. And at some point when I was young, I contemplated suicide. I contemplated running away home. I contemplated probably just jumping down. While I was going through all the horrible experiences that I went through, I observed that God had already placed certain people strategically at certain areas of my life to guide me. Though I was going through abuse, bullying, mental health, or I don't want to say mental health problem, going through not a depression, because I wasn't clinically diagnosed at the time. Probably it's a depression that I don't even know. But I observed that my voice at the time too was silenced. And these are people of God. So sometimes this is one of the reasons why I had to search God by myself. I had to really, really know this God. Is this same God that has been presented to me? Is it the same God that these people who abused me are serving, or were serving at the time? So it took me a longer period of time to find God myself. I didn't go into church and say, "Oh, I want to give my life to Christ," but it was a journey that I went through painfully, in my bedrooms, in the classroom, everywhere. And even right from my secondary school, while I was going through this, I used to have one of the teacher that God had already prepared to help me scale through that hurdles at the time. He used to be what he used to teach us chemistry at the time, and he noticed something about me. One, I was very shy, very quiet, never talk in the class. I'm the one whom everybody would point to as the most gentle girl in the class. But it wasn't that I wanted to be gentle, but there is this veil that the devil has placed on me because of my terrible experience. Because those who were meant to be there for me at the time were the one abusing me. So many times I've heard, "I hate you," at a very younger age. And I'm like, why should you hate me? What have I done? And in order to win their heart, I didn't hate them back. But what I did at the time was still show love. I would do all the chores in the house just to make them like me. But it didn't work until 2 years ago. And I kept praying. So this is something I've been going through for a very, very long time, until I read that book that says, you're going through all this journey because you were anointed. And I looked at my life that day. I was weeping, like, this is terrible. And in every aspect of my life, I've always been the one to encourage people, to put smiles on people's faces, but deep down I was hurting. So I think let me just conclude this by saying that I understood the benefit of love, the importance of love, or giving love back to people, because I never experienced the love that I should have experienced. And people who were meant to show me the love were the one abusing me. They were the one using the name of God to tell lies on me. There's something they called I'm not sure if it's another word in America, but growing up they call it turning the Bible. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They do that to kind of know if you've stolen something, if you were the one. So that was how bad it was. And the most funniest thing was the Bible would actually turn to me to let people know that that I was the one who stole whatever they were looking for. But I never did. It wasn't me. It was never me. And that was how bad people have bastardized Christianity. So, and I felt if people were doing this in the name of God to show that, oh, they were powerful people of God, but then they were doing the wrong thing. So that's how I had to search that God for myself. I wanted to know this true God. If God really exists, I want to know who he is. I need to ask this God, why did you allow all these things to happen? And I realized that it's because I am anointed.
Because you're anointed. And I appreciate you being so transparent about it, because the point of the matter is things that happen to us really can follow us all throughout our life and even into adulthood. And it's only until we turn it over to God and ask him questions like that. I love that you asked him the question, because a lot of times people are afraid to ask God questions. And if he is our Father, we are allowed to ask him questions. We're allowed to ask him. And when you begin to talk to God, then that's when the healing really healing begins.
Yeah.
Dr. Davita says, may I just say, if you're triggered and respond, okay, it doesn't mean you're not healed. She said, I can't stress it enough. it means you know it happened. It means you know you've overcome, but you also know that it's over. Your healing isn't compromised. And so that's important, because as we're on here and we're talking, what I see 3 women that are healed. You're able to talk about what you went through, and you are healed. I do also, she did not ask me for this. She's probably going to get me after this is over. Listen, Dr. Davida works very closely with my mentees, and she is just starting a new round of her her program. It's called The Waiting Well. She did not ask me to do this. She did not. But for those where you want to truly experience healing, when you find yourself waiting, right? When you find yourself waiting, are you able to wait well? Are you able to go into a space, the hiding place? Like for me, the waiting well, for me is really what Psalms 91 is all about, right? Where, he that dwelleth in the secret place. So the waiting well, it's almost like the secret place. And so if you are interested and you need counseling, you would love to be in a group counseling environment, it's a great space. There's also one-on-one. I want you to connect to Dr. Davida, because I've had a lot of folks that connect with me directly, and I'm not taking any more one-on-one clients, right? But if you want to be connected, this is who I recommend that you connect to. Dr. Davida, you can connect with me if you don't see this fast enough, so that you can be part of the waiting well. I'm not sure if she has everyone, because she only takes a small amount. There are 12 men and women that are able to be there. But forgiveness is so important. Forgiveness is so important. And so what I want to do is I want to take a pause, and I want to talk to Deborah, because I want to talk to you about your chapter, right? Hold on one second. Oh, okay. Vibe Rasta says, I met her at the hotel. I think this is her. Okay. Amen. 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 Miss Danae says, familiarity are triggers to be aware of signs of false love, not God's love. All right, good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time with Deborah, because Deborah, over in Paris, you're like 6 hours ahead of us, I think, right?
It's 1:15 now.
Yeah. Okay.
1 a.m. Yeah.
So let us talk to you. You look beautiful at 1 a.m. over there. It doesn't like it might as well be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because you don't even look like it's 1 a.m. But I appreciate you taking time while you're on holiday to just spend some time with us. And I wanted to take a moment, and I wanted to read a section from your chapter. Your chapter says your debt has been settled. Vibe Rasta says beautiful, and beautiful accent. Is it right? Isn't she just so beautiful? And I love her accent. Like, I just love it. I love
American accent.
You said you're gonna find your American accent? You're trying to find your American accent, and I want your accent.
Oh, goodness me.
Now, let everybody know where you're from, because I know that you're based in the UK. So let everybody know where you're from.
Yeah, that's right. I'm from the United Kingdom. Lived in London for a very long time, but then due to the busy life in London, I've moved down to West Midlands. So West Midlands is quiet. Not as busy as New York, so I think probably like Maryland, because I've been to Maryland.
Oh, okay. I'm from Maryland.
Yeah,
okay,
like Maryland, not like New York. So that's where I live. Quiet area. I'm a singer. I'm an author, and it's a privilege to be one of the featured authors in this new book, God Blocked It. So, and this is my third official Christian book. So this is the third one officially. And I just want to thank Dr. Hall for the privilege. It's been a great pleasure sharing your platform with you tonight. And thanks to everyone who's there watching. God bless you.
Yes. Now, okay, are you originally from the UK?
No, I'm originally from Nigeria. So I was born in Nigeria, but I moved down to UK long years ago.
All right. So where did you meet hubby? Because I love details. I love stories. So
That's good. Okay. We grew up together. So we've always been friends. What happened was that back in Nigeria, my parents lived in a state called Ondo State. But because my dad got a job in another state called Oyo State, he was there for like 1 year, 2 years. My mom was waiting. My husband is gonna be transferred back, but my dad never got transferred back. So one day during the long vacation, my mom was like, okay, we're going to visit your dad for the long vacation, not knowing that she'd already started, what's it called, a transfer to another state. So that's how I met myself in another state. And my husband's family, at the time, we never knew each other, also moved from another state down to Oyo State, where we met. And we were actually living right in front of each other.
What? I love it.
So I was in the secondary school. Yeah, and he's got two younger ones who were so beautiful. And like I've said, I love to encourage people. I love to mentor people, even though I was in pain at the time. So, but I thank God it's all over. So I can now share the love and the joy and how to overcome such problems with others. So because of that, I just love those little sisters. So I always play with them. I help them to plait their hair. And one of them has this Caucasian hair. So it's really hard. When you plait it now, before the evening, it all out. So she keep coming back for me to plait her hair. And I keep doing that, because I just love her. She's just so pretty. She's so lovely. And that was how the brother has been hiring me. I didn't know. But to cut the long story short, we were friends for about 10 years and dated for about 6-7 years. So altogether like 17 years before we eventually got married.
Okay, so who did he ask you out or did you ask him out?
We never asked each other out. That's how funny it is.
What?
Never.
Oh,
It just happened.
It. Oh, I love love. I love it. I love it.
So it just happened.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be. That is
Yeah,
literally the Lord ordering your steps.
Yes. Yes. I think that's part of it. For you. Yeah. Yes. So at the time, at least I had someone to cry on, apart from the teachers, my choir leader at the time, who always encouraged me in the Lord, preached to me, encouraged me, take me out for different concerts. So that was how I began to sing, really. So I found singing as a therapy at the time. So I would always run to the choir, to concerts, different music events, and sing and dance. And by the time I'm back, ready to carry on with the fight. So that's just the journey. That was how it's really started. Oh yeah, that's my latest music.
This is a single, All of My Life, and it just came out. So congratulations to you. I have my copy, and every time I jump in the car, it literally it just automatically comes on. So it's yeah, it's just kind of set. It's like it's on my phone, and as soon as my phone is in the car, All of My Life comes on, and I'm in there jamming to Deborah. So congratulations to you and your new single. I'm so excited for you, and just all that God is doing. I want to talk to you about your chapter, and I'm going to read a short snippet from your chapter. And your chapter is Your Debt Has Been Settled. So you said, as I've never attended a court case in my entire life, not even for jury service, finding myself in this situation was never a palatable experience for me. I've been reading about faith since I became saved, but experiencing it can take you a step further in your walk with God. The scripture recorded some of the prophets who received the promises of God through their faith. This indicates that without having faith in the promises, nothing can be received. So I decided to put my faith to work one more time. Talk to us about how God blocked your debt, or how he settled your debt.
I think this is one of the things I never experienced while I was living back in Nigeria. There was nothing like no, you even if you're driving, right, and you do 120 miles per hour, no police is gonna arrest you.
What? Seriously?
So you can literally get away with murder. So that's how it works.
Man.
But then moving down to the United Kingdom, it's another story entirely. And I realized that the only time you run into debt that I know is when you purchase something, you didn't purchase this on debt. But I'm sure for everyone listening tonight, we are all living in advanced countries, not third world countries. And there are some debt that you didn't bargain for. There are some debt that by simple mistake, you are owing thousands of dollars or pounds. And sometimes our income can't settle all this debt.
Mm-hmm.
No matter the amount of income you're earning, if you keep getting this kind of a ticket, this kind of things you didn't bargain for, they can put a strain not only on your financial situation alone, your mental. They could trigger mental stress as well and all of that. So I suddenly found myself. I was in uni studying for my second degree at the time, and because when you're a student, there are some bills you're exempted from here in the UK. So I was exempted for that, but I keep getting this bill and then with few other bills. And as a student, I wasn't working full time anymore. I only worked part-time. Now I'm a family woman. I've got my own family, and the debt was just too much. And sometimes it's really difficult to concentrate. And sometimes if you've been given some time to pay this debt and you don't pay, you have bailiffs knocking on your door. And if you haven't gotten friends and families to rescue you, but all through my life, no one has rescued me financially. So I always try not to run into debt. So, but this particular one, there's no way I could escape it. And eventually I was asked to appear in court. I was like, court, never attended any court case my entire life. And it was a shocking one. So I had to pay off some thousands of pounds, and no one is going to borrow. No one, absolutely no one would borrow me such or lend me such a huge amount of money. And I prayed about it. And when the court date was approaching, I was like, I can't pay. And then I went back and read all the court cases. There are some exemptions that you might have, or there are some circumstances under which you can appeal a case. But when I read all the circumstances under which I could appeal a case, none of them, I never fit into any of them. So the worst scenario would be, one, I would have compulsorily, I have to pay the money or the debt, or two, allow the bailiffs to come into my house, take down my TV, my sofas, whatever they can take or remove to settle the debt. And I remember going on my knees praying. As I was praying that, God, I just needed to go and speak for me, because now there's nothing I can say to appeal this case. I approached the Citizen Advice Bureau, and they were like, unfortunately, I would have to make payment arrangements or pay off at once. If I don't want to go to court, I have to pay everything. Court case is like a death sentence.
Yeah.
If you're an African descent like me, I think you would understand. Going to court is like a death sentence. So I didn't have any means of making the payment, but I remember a song came to my mind, and that's the song you just you just showed now. And it says, literally, because I used that, there's a particular word in that music, which is an African word, and it means great advocate. So I called on the great advocate to advocate for me. Because there is no way I could pay off that debt. And God showed up. God showed up. I was amazed. I don't know if I should just let out the cat in the bag or allow people to go and read that book
they need to
happened.
read it.
It's something I've never experienced before. Never. Even I've watched different Judge Judy, Judge this and that. I've never seen such a miracle. It's beyond me, and it can only be God. Up to now, no one knocked on my door for a penny.
Listen, the great advocate. I
God.
love that. And for those, especially if you are on Amazon Live, if you look down in the carousel, you actually can see Deborah's single is there. So you'll be able to grab her single right here during the live without even leaving. And y'all, please do me a favor. Make sure that you grab that. Make sure that you grab that from there. Okay, listen, I'm gonna bring the ladies on here. Deborah, you gotta teach us how to say the advocate in now you said it's the African language, but which language?
Oh, yes.
Because there's so many different ones. So which one?
Oh, Nigeria, because Nigeria has 3 tribes. The Yoruba.
Okay, Yoruba. Okay. How do you say advocate?
Alagbawi.
Alabawi. Say it again.
Yes, that's it. You got it. There
That's
you
it?
go.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm gonna blow you up on the screen because I need to see your lips move. All right, so I'm gonna make you big so that everybody can say it. Mercy and Robin, stop playing. You need to come off of mute. Because actually, she just said I said it right.
Come on.
Measure up to me. All right, Deborah, say it again so I can see your lips. Go ahead.
Alagbawi. Alagbawi. If you can just
Alagbawi.
yes. Allah, then Bawi.
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 Alagbawi. Go ahead, Robin. Try to say it better than me. Alagbawi.
Alabawi.
See, why she? Oh, you get on my nerves. Go ahead, Mercy.
Great advocate.
Alabawi.
The great advocate, or
She had to really say it all sexy and stuff like
another word.
Hold on,
Another
Deborah.
English
We got
word. You know what?
hold on, Deborah. We gotta get on Robin because Robin does the most. Okay.
yes.
We were just talking about Robin before you came on. We were just talking about how Robin works out, and Deborah, you know, because you've been on our calls, and Robin will be on the treadmill with her towel.
Come on.
Woo, I'm so hot. Alabawi. I'm so hot. Alabawi, help me. No, ma'am. Did nobody tell you to say it like that?
Okay.
I'm sorry, because Robin does the most. Robin likes to switch and twitch
everywhere.
Let's
try that one more time. There's this song as well, sung by another American guy. It's also a Nigerian word, Yoruba word is exactly, and it's kind of similar. And the song actually is one of the songs which won him the Grammy nomination, I guess. Yeah. So I might be going Grammy anytime I go.
Yay! Yes, ma'am. So there's another word that you wanted to teach me?
No, this the Alagbawi, right? It also means I just want to literally break down the meaning.
Please.
Yeah, it's like the chief protocol breaker.
Woo!
So, because what God did for me that day was He broke protocol.
My God.
He broke every protocol in the court. I've never heard about it. I've never seen that before. I was not even allowed to say a word. Not even a word. So I believe that before I got there, He already advocated on my behalf, and He broke every protocol. Because looking at the paper that I was given, I had no chance of winning the case at all. No chance.
No chance. But He is the chief protocol breaker. Listen, let me write that down.
So He is the great Alagbawi.
The great Alabawi. Say it, Robin.
The great Alabawi.
Use that in your prayer, Robin, and come back. I await your testimony.
The great Alabawi. Oh my gosh. Listen, I got to write that down. Well, I am writing it down.
I love it.
Protocol breaker. Listen, y'all, that's a whole word. Cassandra asked if you can spell it, Alabawi. Can you spell that for us?
Do you want me to type it in the chat?
Yes, please. And then I can put it on the screen. Great. Deborah, can you teach me some more? I mean, not tonight, but I want lessons. I love languages, so I want to learn. And Robin's not invited to the class.
You know what? The shade.
Okay, so let's do the names of God. I'm not names of God. I'm not gonna use the your, because in Nigeria we pray with any word. Depending on the circumstances you have to give God a name for that for that situation, and it works wonders.
Thank you. Okay, so
It
Deborah,
works.
here it comes. Cassandra was asking. Yeah, listen, Kenya is excited about the names of God. She said, "Yes, listen, I'm here for it."
Come on.
So for those that wanted to know how to spell it, Alagbawi. And actually, you know what? Let me do this and type out the chief. Woo! Honey, that thing. The chief protocol breaker. My God, my God. Let me put that up there, y'all. That thing, that has me excited right there. The
Thank
chief
you.
protocol breaker. My God. Amen. Okay, so you said you're gonna give us some names of God because I got my pen ready. I bet Robin doesn't.
Okay, we have Arubo Ojo.
Arubo Ojo.
Arubo Ojo. Let me type that as well.
Okay. Yeah, look, Kenya said, where do I sign up for lessons? Deborah, I'm so serious. We're going to have to talk because I really want to learn. Seriously, I love languages. I promise I'm going to be messaging you. I'll message you in a couple of hours so that you have time to get some sleep. But
and Arubo Ojo means the God that never get hold or grow hold.
Oh my God. Okay.
So it's the same yesterday. It's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So he's a God that never grow old. And
amen.
okay,
for those that are listening, I just posted that. My God, that's good.
And we have King of Kings, which is Oba. Oba in Yoruba means king.
You're typing that in there for me too, Deborah?
Oh yeah.
So
if this is what God wants me to do tonight, I'm excited because I'm agreeing. I'm a woman of faith, so I'm agreeing with I'm standing in faith with you that whoever that is trusting God to break protocols. I've broken the several curses in my family. And I'm really happy to God for the privilege. Things that has never, ever been done in my family. I'm the first to do so many of those things. And those who bullied me at the time, those who abused me at the time psychologically, they wanted to know the God that I serve. They wanted to know how I've been able to do X, Y, Z. And they are coming back to me every day now praying for me. And they wanted to serve the God that I serve. So that's how God has been working for me. And I just want to thank God as well that, so many people go through several challenges and never make it out. So being able to overcome the hurdles that I overcame was only possible by the grace of God. So I acknowledge the grace of God upon my life as well. So it's never taken for granted. I believe it's just God for a day like this, for a time like this, and the days ahead. So I believe He has great things in store for me and for you. And I pray that Alagba, with the chief protocol breaker, will break every protocol that needs to be broken in your lives in Jesus' name. And Oba, the King of Kings, will show forth on whoever that is presenting themselves as king over your life. There are some kings that just wanted you to honor them. They wanted you to obey their instructions. Even at workplaces, we have several kings who just wanted you to say, yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss to them. But because we have a God called Oba Awoba, the King of Kings, He is greater than them. And because you are privileged to know Him, you are privileged also to partner with Him to share of that God's inheritance, to share of God's heritage, which is the head. But the Bible says that we shall be her head, we shall be above always and never beneath. So whatever you are trusting God for, whatever the position, whatever the height, whatever the good things that you might be trusting God for, I pray that Oba and Oba, the King of Kings, will show forth over them all in Jesus' name. And
Amen.
Arubu Ojo is the God who never grow old, is ever faithful, ever young, is the same, always the same, the most excellent, the most beautiful God. He would always make your life beautiful in Jesus' name. And we have another one. Alatileni. Please let me know when you want me to stop.
Well, actually, you can save the rest for our lessons.
Okay.
And we'll do the lesson like on your time, like what works for you.
Great.
Because I'm so serious, and I know like my cousin Kenya with her saying yes, let me know when the lessons are. Like I would so love for you, even if you just want to do like the names of God one day. This would be so like I would be so honored. Because I don't think people realize how powerful it is to know the names, even in different languages. Because, for example, I've never called God the chief protocol breaker. So to be able to express that in another language, but to translate it into our language, he's the chief protocol breaker. My God, like y'all. I mean, so we learned Alabawi, Arugbo Ojo.
Great.
Right? And then
great.
Yes, Oba Awan Oba. Yes, the king.
Yeah, come on.
Listen, we have all these people. Hold on. Oh, I got you, Dr. DeVita. I have all these people in the comments talking about me too. Dr. DeVita wants to know, can you teach us how to say forgiveness?
Forgiveness. That is Idariji.
Are you able to type that out for us? Because, we got to see it. Because, see, Dr. DeVita is the forgiveness coach, y'all. And it's so amazing because she and I, while you're typing that out, it's so amazing. She and I, we were talking this morning, and I think it was this morning, and we were talking about how there are so many like diseases and sickness that's tied to unforgiveness, right? Kenya said, listen, she said, Ancestry says that she is 22% Nigerian. She said, you'll be now listen, I'm gonna tell you something, Deborah. I get it all the time. Everybody thinks I'm Nigerian.
You look like my big sister.
I haven't done Ancestry yet, but I have a lot, like a lot of my audience on Instagram, they're Nigerian and they think I'm Nigerian. Wow. And they inbox me and stuff, and they're like, you look Nigerian. I'm like, I'm here for it. Okay. I can be Nigerian. I'll be your cousin. I'm so here for it. All right.
Great. So I've got a few Nigerian sisters tonight. Wow. Interesting.
Yes. All right. So Dr. DeVita, here is the word for forgiveness. And Deborah is getting ready to teach us how to say it. 1 second. I'm just waiting for it to come up. All right. I'm ready.
Oh, Idariji.
Idariji.
Yeah.
Oh. So I love it that I can actually read this. Idariji. Oh, listen, everybody wants to come to this class, y'all. So, so serious. Deborah, please think about it. We'll talk about it because we're gonna have to give you a nice.
Yeah, we can choose a day for that. Yeah.
Yes. I'm so serious. So I'll definitely reach out to you. You'll let me know what's a good time for you because I don't want you doing it at 1 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So Idariji. This is so much fun. Okay. I'm so excited about this. I'll definitely listen. I'll definitely.
Oh, bless you. Come on.
This is the coolest thing ever. I love God. I love him. I love him. I love him. For those that may just be joining or you're wondering, okay, what did I walk into? First of all, we just walked into this beautiful Nigerian lesson, Yoruba, right? Did I say it right? Yoruba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yeah.
Yoruba. Yeah. Why? Cassandra, I can't stand Cassandra. She said my UK accent is ready. Cassandra is always trying to have an English accent. Listen,
I love her.
Deborah, we went to Atlanta back in, what was it, July or August? One of those, it was July. And we went to this restaurant and they asked us where we were from. And because, if you remember, we charted over in the UK because thankfully, because you were part of us. And so you had a lot of people from the UK and they put us on the map in UK. So Cassandra claimed the UK. So they called her out over the microphone, Deborah.
Whoa.
Listen, it's Cassandra.
So what happened to her accent?
She said it's ready. She had, when she went to the counter, she told them she was from the UK, or I think she might even said England, and they literally called her out over the microphone.
Whoa.
Yes. He did.
That's funny.
Y'all, it's the sisterhood. It's the sisterhood. I love it.
Wow.
And yes, I definitely want us to connect and do this class like very, very soon. I really, really do. And so while we're here, for those, again, we've been talking about God blocked it. And what a beautiful God that we serve, that we just learned his names and his character in a whole nother language, right? And I just love that. And so you've met 3 of the international best-selling authors that are here on tonight. Deborah, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Let us all know how can we connect with you, and let us know how we can purchase the book from you.
Oh, thank you. And on Instagram, I'm Debbie Olusoga. And on Facebook, I'm Deborah Olusoga. And Twitter as well, Deborah all my handles, Deborah Olusoga. But sometimes you might see me as Queen Deborah Olusoga. But Deborah, I will definitely pop up. Whether you type Debbie or Deborah, you're gonna see me. And my website is www.godlyrolemodel.com, so you can purchase a copy there. Thank you so much for your time tonight. God bless you.
You are so welcome. Mercy, let us know, how can we connect with you online, and tell us how we can purchase the book from you.
Hi, you can connect with me online on all social media platforms, Mercy Pinder, and you can purchase the book from me at Jotform 230-154-56332-1042. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you can purchase it by going to ABCDEFGHIJK. I'm just kidding. Listen, y'all, we understand that job forms are great, and we know that one was really long. Vibe Rasta says, I need one for Mercy. I'm in Dallas. So listen, if you didn't catch the link, what would be really great is reach out to Mercy on her social media, and she'll actually send you the link, and you'll be able to click and you'll be able to order it, and she'll just be able to pop it right in the mail to you. Okay. So that works right there. Cause I know job form, I know people were like, wait a minute, I lost all the numbers. I lost the social security number. So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and say that. Robin, do us a favor. Let us know, how can we connect to you on social media? How can we buy the book from you?
Good evening again, everybody. You can connect with me on Facebook, Robin M. Sample, and also Journey by Robin, and Journey is with an I, not a Y. And my website is www.robinsample.com. So you can purchase the book there. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, Dr. Hall.
You are so welcome. Listen, tonight was just a beautiful night. Just so many things that I didn't even expect, and I'm just excited. I'm just really, really excited. Alicia Shaw says she loves the way the language sounds. Deborah, she says she loves it. Like I said, I'm going to be reaching out to you because I just think this is just the coolest thing ever. And so thank you for sharing your language with us, and abiding Robin, because Robin tried to outdo everybody. So I'm so glad that you were so nice to her tonight, while she was trying to outshine everyone. I mean, Oba Awanoba, I said it the best. Thank you for being nice to Robin. No, I'm just kidding.
Mercy, nice to see your face tonight. Yeah, I've always been seeing you on the social media. I've never really seen your face. Great connecting with you tonight.
Oh, look. Oh, no. Vibe Rasta said, "Po Robin, listen, y'all, but I promise you guys, this is almost 10 years of connection. She is not offended. She knows I just adore her whole entire life. I love her. I get to mess with her like that because she always tries to outdo me.
Thank you, beautiful Robin. Don't worry, you'll get there.
Yeah. So listen, we love you all. We are going to be back. We'll be back on the 21st and the 22nd. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been connecting with us. If you haven't done it yet, please do me a favor. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, or over on Amazon Live. Thank you all so much for putting this show in the top 5, and even yesterday, the top 3 on Amazon. You blessed my life. Yes, I'm excited to see where we're going to be tonight. Thank you so much. And I hope that you were able to just take so much from tonight, where if you came in late, we spent a lot of time dealing with domestic violence and, how do you speak to somebody that's in a violent relationship? How do you yourself bounce back from being in that? And so if you came in the middle of it, you're going to want to watch the replay. Listen, I love you. You were created to make God famous, and he has anointed you to do hard things. And you all have a blessed night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.